In the late 90s, the state of Tamil Nadu met a new and a little-known car maker from Korea, Hyundai Motors. After setting up shop in the industrial region of Irangattu Kottai, Hyundai launched its first car for the Indian market, the Santro. Like the badge on the hood, even this form was quite unknown to India. It was a tall boy. This car went on to establish Hyundai in the Indian market, and the other models that followed made this brand the second largest car maker in the country so far. And this, where it all began 20 years back, is where the new Santro is reborn. Back then, the Santro was more of a global model that was brought to India. And today, the Santro has been conceived and is being produced in India and will be exported to the rest of the world. One of those cars will also reach the OD garage as a long-term tester. A long-term test where we live with the car, where we put it through its daily grind and some more, and also reveal everything with its service and its service cycles. Now, this is a kind of test that a lot of car makers actually shy away from because it runs the risk of revealing any concerns with reliability or any unusual cost of ownership. Hyundai, however, for one, has always been up for this challenge with each and every one of their models. And this time around, they are going the extra mile, they're taking the extra step by actually inviting us here in Chennai to witness how the Santro takes shape. Take a look. That shaping process, quite literally, begins in the press shop. To me, it is one of the most fascinating processes of building a car. Here, sheets of metal are unrolled, cleansed, inspected, cut into plates and stacked up. Meanwhile, a daily order book tells the press shop which cars are to be produced. So at the press shop, essentially the flat panels of steel will be cut and they will be pressed or stamped into different body panels. This particular press shop can stamp up to 15 different body panels for the Santro. For example, this is for the roof and the AH2 code name tells you that this die is for the Santro. So they'll have the die up there in the stamping machine. The stamping machine can put up to 5,400 tons of pressure on a plate of steel and stamp it into the desired body panel. There are different kinds of dies. See what it looks like. The first process involves cutting of the steel plate in the desired shape. The second step punches the required holes in these plates. The third and the rather impressive step is that of stamping the plate into its three-dimensional shape. After the body parts are finally stamped, for every 1,000 body parts, up to 10 or 15 body parts are closely scrutinized for any sort of imperfections in the surface. So you need expert people to do that. You have experts doing that. You know, India is a dusty country, and no matter how much every car maker tries to keep the environment dust-free, there are particles of dust that might enter the stamping machine and that could cause imperfections in the bodywork. That could be a minor dent or some sort of waviness in the body panel or any sort of imperfection overall in the surface or in the way the thing has been stamped. And that is why you need some expert hands. They call it the oil stoning process, where they will literally look and scan the entire panel for imperfections. You have these experts literally looking at each and every section, each and every nook and corner of this body panel to try and figure out if there is any sort of imperfection. And once it is inspected, it goes on to that tray there. Everything is then stored together, and the remaining body panels, which are then certified to be perfect, are moved to the storage area. Here the panels are stoned as per the model that they will go on, and the entire kit is then moved to the body shop. The body shop is a very interesting place and a heaven for anyone who takes keen interest in mechatronics. Remember the dancing robot from the Hyundai exhibit at the 2018 Auto Expo? Well, the best moves are on this floor. Robos have been around since the birth of the first Santro, but over the years their moves and their accuracy have evolved as much as 4 generations. The smaller robos begin with fusing the inner and the outer door, hood, roof and boot lid panels using spot welding techniques, taking less than a minute per panel. Meanwhile, the larger robos fuse the roof, door frames and the aprons to the chassis. The robos have a rhythm of movement and sound, and you'll often see sparks flying all around from the welding, all of which imparts a sense of occasion to this place. The manufacturing of the chassis for all locally produced Hyundai cars is outsourced and is another work of precision engineering. As per the daily order book, these robos alter their moves for every model, and unlike the press shop, they can work on different models one after the other without requiring a change in the componentry. While the robos are doing their thing, human workforce bolts the doors, boot lid and the hood onto the chassis. All the different body panels are assembled on the body shell right here on this line, and this particular Santro is now going to get its engine hood.
We are very proud of the success of Santro. Santro reminds me of the first Santro which we produced 20 years back. Those days we were having less automation, we had improved a lot. Now it is almost 100% we are doing 100% welding automation is happening in Santro. And we have some intelligent robots which are all giving a resistance feedback, and it gives a lot of assurance on the weld quality. And we have a perfect sealing systems in paint shops, and we are using the latest paint technology, latest paint, ED paint, and we are very excited to give a very quality product of here.
Once the whole body shell is ready, it goes through another round of inspection. And even if there is the minutest of inconsistencies, the car is taken off the production line. And the ones that pass make their way straight to the paint shop. Since the paint shop works with a lot of chemicals, it was off bounds for us. Therefore, we rejoined our Santro directly in the assembly shop, which some of the jolly workforce at Hyundai likes to call the marriage hall, simply because this is the shop where the body structure is married to the drivetrain. Before this holy alliance takes place, Hyundai workers will route the ancillary wiring harness and the fluid lines, fix the suspension struts and attach the firewalls in quick succession, without any delays or errors. And that precision is quite a sight. Within minutes, the engine is fixed into the bay, the rear axle is attached, and the suspension components are completely assembled. The engine and the transmission too is assembled in the Chennai plant. Meanwhile, a technician walks in like a fashion designer's assistant, pushing a rack full of colored body panels hanging on it. While a bunch of technicians bolt on these bumpers, lamps, grille and the other plastic parts, their colleagues attach the glass house, seats, airbags, infotainment, dashboard, headliner, door pads and pillar trim. Hyundai has improved these processes over the years to a level where everything from an entry-level Eon to the feature-laden Creta takes almost the same time to assemble.
There is no difference between a premium car or an entry-level car. We don't see that. The quality is same for us. Again, when I compare this to 20 years before, now we are very sure of the happenings here, because all the safety features, all the safety connections, whatever the torque, everything is connected online. So we cannot sign off without standards.
Once the assembly process is complete, the car is fired up for the first time. A technician drives it for a few meters over a ribbed surface to ensure the suspension operation. The car then goes into a high-intensity shower to rule out any leaks in the bodywork. It is then moved into a tunnel of bright tube lights for a final check for the surface or paint imperfections. It looks like a dressing table of sorts, and you may have seen quite a few car makers post photos of their cars posing in a light tunnel of this type. So after everything is put together, the car is finally put to a road test. Now, because the Santro is made in plant number 2, it has a 1.6 kilometer track where it will go through a quick road test. Hyundai will ensure that the engine performance, the driving dynamics are all as intended. And once they tick that off, the car comes here for the final PDI, where all the ancillary functions, all the functions of the car are then checked. All the ancillary or the peripherals are added to the car, including the swatch scan, and then the car is ready to hit the dealerships. The green car that we've been tracking, the green Santro, that is here too. Our experts at Hyundai here are going to run a final check on that car, and once it has been given the final certification, we hope to see this car back at the OD garage. We walked alongside our green Santro for one last time on the ramp as all these checks were through and the car was green lighted to hit the road. And one fine morning, the green Santro was delivered to the OVERDRIVE garage for its long-term test. Cars come and go in the OD garage almost every day, but this experience is quite unique. What was a piece of sheet metal just a few weeks ago is now a fully functional car.